Apt Electronics is your number one destination for home with the best selection of quality Bosch appliances, offering a full range of kitchen appliances that deliver superior precision, important performance. You can own the kitchen like a Bosch. Their dishwashers and crystal dry technology deliver the ultimate clean, and they're even going to dry plastics. You don't have to have the argument anymore. Well, you didn't dry the Tupperware. Well, you don't have to now. Sleek refrigerators with VitaFresh technology is going to keep your food fresh. It's 3 times longer compared to refrigerators that don't have the VitaFresh. Oh, and they've got these very cool ovens that have a combination air fryer. Oven and air fryer together. It's a time saver. It's a space saver. Enduring commitment, quality, and design. It's all Bosch. Makes kitchen appliances invented for life. Thoughtful design runs through every detail of every Bosch appliance. It's a kind of quality that's both lasting and clear. And remember, don't forget about that promotional code, Cochran25, where you can save $25 at Apt or at apt.com. Thank you, Ross Cochran, for putting this together. And thank you for listening and watching live from my office. Hey, what are you doing here? Tim Benker's here. I'm here. Hi, Tim.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going just fine. Thank you for doing this. Welcome to what we do on Live from My Office. This is actually called Anything But Politics. Now, more backstory than you need, but I was going to do a separate website and call it Anything But Politics, the podcast, and all that. But it turns out there's a group in New Hampshire that already have an Anything But Politics podcast, and they talk to politicians. So I'm confused. But I don't have that name. I thought, well, what about Everything But Politics? Yeah, somebody's got that too. And we've gone through about 7 or 8 or 9 iterations. So this is not a new podcast. This is live from my office.
Okay.
But we're calling this one Everything But Politics. But it's just, consider it for legal reasons, a subheading. It's
okay.
For the people that bring you live from my office, this is Anything But Politics. Okay. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Wait, did it start yet?
Did it hurt your head?
Yeah, did it start? Is this live? Okay.
And
I'm ready.
You know, when I say Anything But Politics, that means no Trump. We're Trump-free. We're in a Trump-free zone.
You said him, though. You said his name, and we don't say his name anymore in our family.
Oh, you just drop it. Okay. All right. We're in a free zone.
We call him Off. O-F-F. And
okay, Off. Off is good.
Figure out what those words and those letters represent.
Well, one of the names we considered, remember Bill O'Reilly had the no spin zone?
Right.
I don't know if he still does it, because right now he's running a Boy Scout camp in New Hampshire with those people that have the podcast. But Bill O'Reilly, no spin zone, I thought we could call this the no politics zone, because I thought it'd make a cool logo. And then I lost interest. So this is Anything But Politics. I'm going to give you 5 headlines. You're going to tell me which one you want to do first, and we'll just run through the stories.
Do we still have time? It was like when you're trying to get your wife to be romantic with you, and you do so much soliciting that by the time she says yes, you're exhausted.
That's very funny. It's very funny. All right, so here are the headlines. You tell me which one you want to do.
Okay.
Rock band riders.
Ooh, intriguing. All right, next one. Just go with
Bad day to be doubly do-right? Question mark. The fight boat. Not everybody is talented. Or the price of your freedom.
I'm going to go with Not Everybody is Talented for 100.
Good first choice. That is a good first choice. For those of you on our YouTube channel, and if you're listening and not on the YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel, which is getting populated quickly, and all of the podcasts go there. That YouTube channel, you just search Live from My Office, and you subscribe, and you're in.
Very
so,
good.
Now, I picked this story specifically because, as you and I, over the years, have done many shows at Zanies in Chicago, and Zanies for people around the country. It's one of the great comedy club franchises. And at Zanies, there's a particular individual who used to come to all of our shows, and she would be called the Dolphin or the Laugher. Remember her?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I didn't know this existed, but, when you go overseas, they have different contests than we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the European Championship Gull Screechers just had their big finals. The Gull Screechers, and the woman that won is one Anna Brinold of Denmark, who screeched like a gull, better G-U-L-L, screeched like a gull better than anybody else. And all I could think of was our friend from the old days who would come to the shows, laugh like a dolphin, and literally stop the shows.
So this gull screeching brought one thing to my mind, my ex-wife. Because maybe she didn't sound like a gull, but that's what I heard.
Right. In your head, it was the European gull screeching contest. That's exactly right. Now, dressed in gull costumes, which is mandatory, 60 participants from 14 countries got on stage and belted out their best gull imitations in 3 categories: adult, junior, and colony. I don't know what colony is. You think that's a group of gulls?
I guess they would come in colonies.
And then a jury awarded, I'm sorry, they do what?
Maybe they're nudist gulls.
A jury awarded points based on sound and performance. One contestant did her best impression by stopping between squawks to lunge her face into a bag of chips and then come back out and screech some more.
And she stepped on my joke. I was going to say that would be the best way to attract people to that contest, is throw a fry in the middle of the stage.
Right?
If you've ever been...
Come on. Please.
They'll snag those right out of your hand while you're eating in Florida.
So there you go. Gulls. Have you ever heard a gull, a seagull? You must have.
I've heard them, but I didn't think anyone was wise enough to have a competition to sound like.
Now, let's explain for a second, if you don't mind, why the seagull-sounding, dolphin-sounding person was such a disruption at a comedy show, because some might think when you're on stage and something like that happens, it's great fodder, and you can play with a crowd. So what would your answer to that?
Absolutely not. It's a timing wrecker. It's a distraction for the people who are listening, because then they go, ha ha, hey, what's that? And
right.
Really, really crippling to a show.
And people started throwing breadcrumbs at her, and that slowed the weight surface down. I mean, it wasn't easy.
It really was distracting.
All right, let me go back
and snort instead.
Right, the snorters we can deal with.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let me go back to the list. Remaining categories: rock band riders.
Rock band riders for 200.
Oh, that's the one you want? Okay.
Yes.
Now, I bring this up specifically because your son is in a very successful band, and we were just talking about Europe, specifically in the UK, they do very well. What's the band's name?
The band's name is The Bites, Bites, and they're in the studio in Los Angeles right now, recording their second album.
That's very exciting.
Available on Earache Records. They actually do vinyl, which is great. Vinyls and CD.
I love the title of the record label, Earache Records.
Yes. They've been around for quite some time, yes.
Nice. All right, so for rock band riders, explain what a rider is for a rock
band. When you have a contract to do a performance at a venue, whatever, you'll have a rider that would state the things that you need, specific things that you need outside of the norms of a contract. For instance, the thing was with Van Halen, they would have requests.
They wanted green M&Ms?
It was, anyway, they wanted one color omitted from the M&Ms.
Yeah.
Because you guy could eat them. But anyway, so that would be a specific rider that they would have in their contract.
AC/DC, you ever see them live?
I never have.
No, and I'm not a huge fan of that level of rock music. Like Leonard Skinner, I get it, great band, but it's not my thing. While you were at the Leonard Skinner concert, I was crying openly at the Air Supply tour.
You're all out of love, Steve.
AC/DC requested a lot of the usual things, water, soda, coffee, but also they would not go on without 2 live potted trees, height dependent on ceiling in the green room. I don't get it. I don't get it. You think it might be...
Maybe they were so high they needed extra oxygen in the room.
Well, I didn't think about that. I did not think about that.
Number 2, they never played in Hawaii, so they wanted to create that illusion.
I just think it's funny that a band like AC/DC, maybe one of them, with his reputation as a hardcore rocker, was this gentle gardener, and he just loved having greenery around him. Or maybe he was with Zach Galifianakis. He did Between Two Ferns once, and he just wanted to recreate it. I don't know. All right, Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin, well-known fear of flying. She had a tour writer that noted her hotel suite shall not be located above the 5th floor. She was very afraid of heights.
Wow.
But here's the impressive request. $25,000 in cash paid up front or the night she doesn't go on. And by the way, $25,000 was just part of her fee.
Right. I think I subscribe to that. That's good. I want it right here, baby. I want to know that I'm going to walk out with something before I'm done.
Well, and black artists of her era were so taken advantage of
Sure.
by promoters that I get it. I get you wanted 25 grand. Now, the only other person I've seen deal specifically in cash, Seinfeld. I did stand up with Seinfeld in the early days. This would have been, I guess, late 80s, like right around the time he got his show. And only did a couple of different gigs with him. But he, on payday, which was the night of the last show, usually a Saturday night. Remember those were the 3 show nights?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yes, so he would be in the back of the room, and the only thing missing was like the visor, because he would count out $5,000 in $20 bills in front of him on a desk while a bouncer waited at the door, because he insisted on being paid in cash, because comedy club owners are such dirtballs in general. Now, the people we mentioned, zanies, and the people who have legitimate businesses, they're not like that. But in the old days, and by the old days I mean the 80s and the 90s, there were lots of smaller one-off comedy clubs where you might not get paid.
Exactly. And even if they gave you cash, you couldn't spend it till Thursday because you weren't sure if it was good or not.
And Richard Lewis, the late great Richard Lewis, he had a great story about a comedy club owner in Tampa. And he had a bonus tied to his deal where if he sold out, he got, whatever, X amount more money. So he arrives at the club the night of the first show, and there's a line around the block.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes in, and Richard was as neurotic as you think he would be. And Richard goes in, and he goes up to the club manager, who also happened to be the owner, and said, "Hey, great line, huh? Looks like somebody's paying a bonus tonight." And he goes, "No, it's not going to happen. You're one short." And he said, "One short? What are you talking about?" And he points at a stool with no seat on it, where the seat had specifically been removed so he wouldn't have to pay the bonus.
No.
That's the world of show business.
I feel like I worked for that guy many times.
Yeah. Did you ever get stiff completely on a check?
Not completely. There were a couple of gigs where they were like, "Yeah, we didn't do so good here." And you're at that point where you're like, okay, I can either walk out of here with nothing or something. So you take something. So
once again, for the kids watching or listening, the deal is only play the big clubs. Maybe start in Vegas.
Or actually, my word of advice would be, don't do it. Don't do it. Just stay out of it.
That's good. Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses. Mm-hmm. He did some solo stuff afterwards. And he got fat. Remember he got fat?
Oh, yeah. He's still a little bit chunky.
His rider included a pepperoni pizza, pasta primavera, fettuccine alfredo, and white bread. But he wouldn't go on unless they brought him Wonder Bread, which I don't think specifically even qualifies as bread, does it?
No, I don't think so. It's made from a space-age polymer.
Right. No, it doesn't seem right. The Beach Boys, you wouldn't think the Beach Boys would have any issues, right? They were the Beach Boys.
Well, they were pretty hot at one point in the mid-'60s, so they may have had their say of what they could have in their...
Well, they had a licensed masseuse or masseur, qualified in either Swedish or Oriental deep muscle massage, much like I had and you had when you were doing radio. Every morning before I went on the air, I had a deep tissue massage.
I was Rolfing. That's what I was doing.
The band also had in writing, this tells you what it's like on the road. In writing, the band had a legal requirement in all caps for working toilets.
Okay, you froze.
Working toilets.
The punchline.
Working toilets. That was it. Working toilets.
Okay, there you go. And I would ask for that too.
This is kind of cool. The Beatles refused to perform before a segregated audience when they came up in the 60s. There were a lot of clubs that I'm sure in places that maybe wouldn't seat whites and blacks together. So good for them.
Very nice.
You know, Beck?
Yes.
Beck insisted on a contract rider, but not for the green room, for the bus after the show. No one was fed or given beverages other than water until after the show because it kept them more alert. And then after the show, he wanted Mexican, Thai, or Italian food on the buses. I think Beck sounds kind of a dick.
Yeah, I know. You will starve until I say.
Billy Idol. Billy Idol's tour rider, not just chips and Doritos, but nachos with the specific store-bought cheese in a can. He wanted, what's it called? The Cheese Whiz, right?
There's cheese. There's also like that liquid pour-on cheese for nachos. But yeah, Cheese Whiz is the one I remember.
He also insisted on popcorn, but it had to be I can't believe it's not butter popcorn. And he wanted chocolate chip cookies, but he would only accept Chips Ahoy in the bag.
Those are the worst chocolate chip cookies ever.
Billy Joel, this must be easy. Billy Joel said pretty much any kind of sugar-free hard candy and Twizzlers red licorice. Now, I had a doctor once who told me that if you have a sugar drop, Twizzlers red licorice is a great way to refire your sugar in your blood instantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so maybe that's it.
He didn't ask for a bottle of white and a bottle of red?
That would have made more sense.
I know.
Yeah, completely. Come on. Let me see if I get another one here. Bob Dylan. You know what Bob Dylan should have had in his rider? Someone who could sing. Contractually, I'm insisting on someone coming in who could go, like a Rolling Stone.
Not too many people do Bob Dylan anymore.
He's a great, great, great writer. One of the great writers of all time. Mm-hmm. But to me, when he sang, he sounded like he was in the middle of a prostate exam. Let's see. Regardless of whatever Bob Dylan wanted, the one thing in his dressing room that he insisted, it had to be lit with incandescent lighting. Now, you run a company. You know from manufacturing and you know from running a company, you run a carpet cleaning company. And by the way, if you're in Chicago, get your carpets cleaned by Northwest Carpet Cleaning.
Oh, yes, do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And he'll give the number out on a phone number or a website
Six.
too.
The number is 6.
6, okay. But what is incandescent lighting?
Incandescent lighting is, if you know your Thomas Edison, it's the light that has a little filament inside that gets lit and illuminates.
Why would he want that specifically?
Because he didn't like fluorescent, which is gas inside that tube.
And that makes that humming noise?
And the ballast, which lights the gas, is what makes that humming noise.
Listen to you. Listen.
And now there's which is an electric, a lighted, and a diode. I forget what the middle word?
Yeah.
Well, light emitting diode.
Light emitting diode.
Yes.
So, Bon Jovi, one large urn containing hot, homemade, low-fat chicken noodle soup, just the way you want your rock bands, sitting around backstage having chicken noodle soup. Bruce Springsteen, prior to becoming as healthy as he is now, Springsteen's new thing is he eats once a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Springsteen, writer, as of the early 2000s, chicken fingers, tater tots, to take care of the band and his young children.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he's, 78, and he's got young children?
He did that. What do you think Cher wanted?
Cher wanted Botox. She asked Geppetto if she could be a real girl again.
She wanted a wagon for her traveling show.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
She requested a TV with both VCR and cable and guaranteed access to Turner Classic Movies or AMC. How about that?
She's got to go perform. She's got time to watch movies.
I opened for Cher once in a 2-night deal.
Okay.
And this is the early 90s. She was very big, and it went quite well, and we had a nice relationship. But after the first night, the second night comes, and I'm doing the opening. There's probably 20,000 people. It's in an arena.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the middle of it, and the timing, we talked about timing earlier, the timing is such that there's no laugh at this particular point, and the crowd starts to roar. And Cher walks out to me, the opener.
Okay.
She's not been introduced. She's got a very elaborate opening thing that she does. She's exposing herself to the audience, which, you don't do. But she came out, and she had one of her headpieces on, those elaborate headpiece things, right?
Yes.
She had it in her hands, and she came up behind me and tried to put it on my head. So she put it on top of my head, and then she leaned to the mic, and she goes, I knew it wouldn't fucking fit, and walked off. So I have nothing but good things to say about Cher. She was very cool.
It was very nice.
Let me see, I got one or two more here. How about Don Henley from the Eagles?
Don Henley probably wanted the world on a silver platter. I love Don Henley. He's a great, great singer. He's a little bit self-absorbed, I think.
And a bit of a sourpuss.
Yes.
He wants anyone backstage who isn't designated to be there to be arrested and removed. Kind of goes with what you just said.
Have a good show, Don.
Yeah, yes. We can't end on that sort of down note. Let me see if I can find one more here. Well, Elton John must be fun. What would Elton John want in his green room as a writer?
Elton John would tea. Maybe he'd like tea because he's a sir, so he might want tea.
It says he can't go on without a flower bouquet.
Me too.
Kind of feeding the cliche.
Yes.
But no chrysanthemums, lilies, carnations, or daisies. All right, I got one more for you. I promise I'll stop. The Foo Fighters. Great band.
Love the Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters contract rider. 4 pair of medium boxer shorts and 4 pair of white tube socks.
You know why?
I don't know why.
Because
What do they play?
can.
What do they play? Dress up? You know, you make a good point, though. A lot of bands, I think, would do stuff like that just to do stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So now the Bites, when they travel around England, they want just a couple things. They want their meals supersized, so they get the extra big drink and the extra big fries, and then they need a translator for the British.
Very good. So you need someone that's versed in subtitles.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. All right, here are your remaining topics and categories here. The cost of being free. A bad day to be Dudley Do-Right or the fight boat.
Let's go with Dudley Do-Right for 300. Wink.
This is a quick one.
Okay.
Saskatoon, Canada. Ever been there?
I have not been to Saskatoon.
Yeah.
I only go to cities with 2 or 3 syllables.
Wasn't that a Three Dog Night song? I've never been to
Saskatoon.
Yeah. I got you. I was trying to cover you.
Thank you.
Saskatoon police had a vehicle stolen because they left it running with the keys in it while they were chasing a drunk man on foot. So what have we learned? Don't leave your car running in Saskatoon.
Lock your car, take your keys.
And our final categories here, the fight boat or the cost of freedom.
We're going to do the cost of freedom last only because this is not political, but that almost sounds political.
No, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. All right, the fight boat. A massive brawl erupted on a Carnival cruise line, putting 24 people on the do not sail list forever. A heated altercation involving dozens of Carnival cruise passengers resulted in 24 people being banned. It occurred inside a cruise terminal in Galveston, Texas, following a 7-day cruise. So it's been building.
Right.
Over the course of 7 days. You cut in front of me in the buffet line one more time, and I'm going to kick your ass in Galveston.
That's the last 10 pounds of shrimp. You're not putting your fingers on that.
Footage from the fight showed multiple passengers punching and kicking each other. The incident occurred just a few days ago, as of the time we're taping this, on May 1st. It was April 26th. It was a Western Caribbean cruise, and by all accounts, a lovely time was had by most, but something set them off once they got to Galveston. And the fight went down. There's a couple places ways we could go on this. Were you ever in a fist fight?
I was in 4th grade with Kenny Barton, but my sister broke it up.
I hated it. Well, that's a bad development if you're a dude.
That was, yeah. Look at his face. Do you think he was in a fist fight ever?
Well, no, you're a very nice guy, and I don't think that you're the type to use your word.
You know what? You're right. In present days, I've only gotten into fist fights with walls. And they usually...
When you get angry, you take it out on the drywall?
Exactly.
Yeah. I've been in a couple. One was not a fight, but it was perceived to be, and this goes to radio again, Minneapolis. I had a great run there for about 5 years, but as it was ending, leading to one of my firings, let's go to the tote board. We stand at 11. As it was ending, there was a contest, and you'll remember contests like this from your time on the radio in Houston and Vegas, where they'd come up with a really cool idea that you thought was really stupid, and then you had to go sell it on the air.
Right.
Well, we had the invisible ATM machine, and the invisible ATM machine was just a sound effect of an ATM machine. And the idea being you'd call in, and so I'd go 101.3 KDWB. Hi, who's this?
This is Tim.
Tim, are you ready to play the invisible ATM?
I sure am, Steve. Thanks.
I'm going to start the ATM, and all you have to do is tell me when to stop it. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
I hit a fake button. It goes boop, boop, beep, boop, 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 beep, bop, boop, bop, beep, bop, boop, boop.
Because they all sound like that.
Yes, and then you say stop.
Stop.
And then it tells me how much money you've won.
Okay.
I made fun of it a couple times on the air, and then one morning I said, okay, we all know this is BS. We all know this is just sound effects. So let's cut to the chase. No beep, boop, bop, bop. Just say stop, and I'll tell you how much you've won. Well, the program director lost his mind. Program director is the boss in this case. Lost his mind. I was called into a post-show meeting with the general manager. The general manager is there. The program director is trying to get in my face. I'm giving it back to him. he said something personal to me. I frankly don't remember what it was. And I stood up to leave. And the reason I stood up to leave was because, I wasn't going to have anybody talk to me that particular way, and it was better than the way it was going to go. But as I stood up to leave, the general manager, I'll call him the referee, thought I was going to punch the program director. And he got up from behind the desk and sort of leapt towards me. I didn't understand why he was leaping. He wasn't the kind of guy that would leap.
Right.
And as he leapt towards me, he lost his balance and face planted. Not on the floor. He hit the handle on the door with his teeth. So my immediate boss hates me. The senior boss is now bleeding on the floor as I'm standing over him. I go to open the door to get him help, and it's loud enough where there's some people outside who are standing around, and they see the boss bleeding and me standing over him. Well, I'm not getting out of this one.
Say, what is this going to cost me?
And finally, the price of freedom, the 14 most expensive divorces in history.
Mine was, I'm divorced from my ex-wife, appropriately. And
that seems right.
Yeah, it was, why divorces are expensive? Because they're worth it.
There you go. There you go. I'll give you the one of the litigants. You tell me the number. Tiger Woods divorces Elin Nordegren after his really bad year. What'd she get?
Okay. I remember he was quite successful at the time. This was before he had all the injuries and surgeries and that. So
he was the guy.
I think she got about $200 million.
Just short of that. $710 million adjusted for inflation, just over $1 billion.
Oh, no, I was just a bit off.
That'll make you question how mad you are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How bad do you want your freedom? Harold Hamm was a gas, oil, and fracking magnate. I was in a band called the Fracking Magnates. Remember that? A fracking magnate. He was going to be Mitt Romney's energy advisor in 2012, but then he had a problem. He had an affair. His wife left him. On paper, she should have gotten half of his $20 billion. A friendly judge in Oklahoma said, "You don't deserve all that. Here's $1 billion." And she settled. She walked away with $1 billion. Should she have put her pump down, her foot down, her heel down? Should she?
So I'd have to be there. I'd have to be in that position to make that determination. Because, if anybody walked in and gave you $1 billion right now, you'd say, yeah. But if you knew I had $19 billion in my pocket.
Yeah, you might be angry enough to fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would have fought. That was a fracking shame.
I see what you did there. Formula One founder Bernie Ecclestone had his first child in 1955. He had his last child in 2020 when he was 89 years old. The latter made him the seventh oldest father in history. When he got divorced from his ex-wife, Slavica, how could it have gone bad? Her name's Slavica.
Exactly.
It said they divorced amicably. He had to pay her at 89 years old $1.5 billion. It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. And you know what? He got her in the mail. He should have been able to send her back.
Right? Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, no, you're completely right. Let me see. I got a couple more here. Mackenzie Scott, famously married to Jeff Bezos. And Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Scott famously double dated Jeff's manager and his manager's wife. Well, guess what? Jeff and the manager's wife end up together, and Jeff has a very expensive divorce. The founder of Amazon ended up giving Mackenzie Scott $1 billion. Now, that's a fraction, and just a fraction of what he has. I think he's got a couple of hundred.
I saw recently $193 billion.
Yeah,
and
billion.
What
that's
I like about
million.
this, she got it's about a quarter, I guess, $47 billion. She's giving it all away.
She's become Robin Hood. She is one of the most generous people ever. You want to see somebody make it rain? Get close to her. She's, at last word, she'd given away $20 billion, over half of what she got in the settlement.
20, but all right, but you got
and they're great causes too.
But you got to think she's not going fast enough. Let's say you have $40 billion. How much? If you have a lousy investment banker on your side and he makes 1%, what is 1% of 40 billion? I
think the term you're looking for is shitload.
It's a shitload. So yeah, the interest that you make, that's she's spinning her wheels. I think she's got to go faster. I'll take a bill.
Well, it's funny I'll take a bill, because I'll take a Bill Gates for our final divorce.
Oh, okay.
Bill and Melinda Gates. He was hanging around with Jeffrey Epstein. We still don't know what to make of that. He said it's a terrible mistake. He never should have done it. Yeah, no kidding, Bill.
All right, this is a social thing. This isn't a political thing.
Bill and Melinda ended up, over the years coming up with the Gates Foundation after he left Microsoft. Again, incredibly important, generous, amazing work they've done in Africa, eradicating AIDS almost completely. But in the meantime, he had Delorier up in 2019 when it became public that Bill had kind of a same time next year affair with someone where annually he would meet a woman for, I think it was a week or 2 weeks, and she would reboot him.
Right. If you want to have sex once a year, you should stay with your wife.
So they end up getting a divorce, and there was no prenup. But Bill Gates, and I give Bill Gates credit for this, he gave her $76 billion. $76 billion. Now he's worth, probably $200 billion as well. But that's a nice payday, $76 billion.
That really is. I haven't heard, has she continued her philanthropic fill-in?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, no, I believe so. Yeah, I believe she's still involved.
That's really good, because if you have that kind of money, you should dispense it.
The bad news is he sent her the notice on Microsoft Outlook, and she never saw it. Yeah. Because Outlook is such a terrible email platform, it's impossible.
It is. So you think with all that money, plastic surgery or someone to dress you would be on his list of priorities, but obviously not.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be. But if you have that kind of dough, maybe install an extra penis. I don't know, a backup. I don't know. There's something you could do, right?
Or you could hire somebody to do your wife if you don't want to do it anymore.
No, there's that.
Yeah,
there's that. So, well, listen. What have you learned from our get together here on Anything But Politics? Because
that if you're going to get divorced, be poor.
True, and if you're on
don't go on a cruise at all. You've been on cruises, right?
Not a fan.
I've never been, and from afar, I despise it.
Yeah, no, not a fan. Not a fan. I've been on several. Not a big fan.
Especially after COVID. Everybody forgets about that, what went on when COVID first started.
What about if you were in Saskatoon in a police car?
If I know if I was in Saskatoon, I'd be drinking an awful lot, so I might be the guy they're chasing.
And the contract writer thing, next show we do together, should we have a contract writer? What would your demands be?
I think so, too. If we have, because we're going to be working soon in the south suburbs, right? We're going to be working in Joliet.
Well, the western suburbs in Aurora, we got a show book there, but we're putting some others together in the northwestern. So it's all in the Chicago area for people not listening in Chicago.
All right. So
we're working on another show in the northwest suburbs as well.
Right. I want an Italian beef sandwich with my choice of hot or sweet peppers. That would be on my... I know I could get it on the way there, but I just want them to bring it to me.
Hot and sweet peppers, those are your two backup dancers when you're on stage.
Right.
Hot peppers and sweet peppers.
If I was single, I would ask for a girl who was like a small, but a little person girl who was...
Really?
Dressed in
for what? To get stuff out of off the low shelves? What is she doing?
Exactly.
Okay. I'm just trying to help you because that was headed down the road that you didn't want to go on, I don't think.
No, but we talked about that. You could have whatever you want just because. There doesn't have to be a reason that I wanted a short girl.
You know the mics are still on.
Really? I forgot about that. I thought we were just chatting. I shouldn't have done so much already. No.
Let's do some plugs here. I'm wearing the Survive 2025 hat. It doesn't have to start a fight. Remember, this is Anything But Politics. This is just 100% cotton therapy or 100% hat therapy. Get these or the very attractive shirt. I don't have one in front of me, and I should.
I had one right here, and I took it off the door behind me. But anyway, I have one of the shirts. It's great. Buy one.
Right.
Buy two.
Right.
Because you spill on the first one, so buy two.
That's exactly right. And it's Survive 2025 US. The YouTube channel where you can see all the podcasts. If you're not just listening to them, you can go to Live from My Office on YouTube for that. I'm about to put up a new Substack column, which is about politics. So I won't be appearing on this podcast, but check out Substack, search Steve Cochran. You can get that there. And Tim owns, in his regular day job, when he's not fighting crime at night, he is a business owner and owns a company called Northwest Carpet Cleaning.
So the reason why I kind of grimaced when you said it earlier is because we do so much commercial work that we haven't really done. COVID kind of took away the residential market, and
the last thing you need is a bunch of fans calling.
And I'll come and I'll vacuum for them. But yeah, my crews, I've got 4 crews and they're out of town a lot, cleaning carpets for big corporate accounts.
All right. Well, business is great, and I look forward to us being.
To someone who can do it for you as well.
Yeah, and I look forward to being on stage again with you soon.
Yes, and I'm working on a show. I think I told you about this, Steve, and it's just a working title, but I'm working on a solo show called "Too Old My Ass," which is it's me and my donkey, who we've been together for a long time.
Oh, it's very sweet.
Doing a comedy.
It's very sweet. You know, between the short woman fetish and your donkey comment, I think we're going to get you emergency therapy. It's probably going to start right now. You stay in a room. You'll hear 3 knocks when you open the door. A nice man's going to take you to a place and talk to you.
Okay, but I want my choo-choo.
You can have whatever you want.
Okay, thanks.
That's my friend Tim Benker, and he's not nearly as disturbed as I made him out to be. And thanks for being on, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, buddy. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Support the show by subscribing wherever you're listening and by telling your friends about it. Follow Steve on all social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And make sure you check out this episode's show notes for relevant information discussed during the conversations. You can also email the show directly at thecochranshow@gmail.com with any questions or comments, and that's the best place to tell us about your favorite nonprofit so we can make sure we mention them on the next episode. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.
We thank Apt Electronics and Appliances, our title sponsor here on Live from My Office. The month is May, and Apt, of course, is your number one destination for the home and your number one destination for everything furniture. I sleep on an Apt mattress. I sit in an Apt recliner. I may have Apt furniture I've forgotten about. But with an upcoming expansion of the furniture showroom, which is going to provide an additional 30,000 square feet, I don't even know where they're going to put that. Apt is the perfect place to get inspired for a living room makeover and more. Maybe a complete home update if you like. Maybe a chair and a half, or maybe a recliner. Maybe a new mattress. All right, now I'm just channeling me. Explore rugs and sofas and dining tables and mattresses and more with trend-setting brands like Palliser and FlexSteel, Hooker Furniture, and of course our house as well. Visit the store in Glenview to shop stylish furniture in person or explore the collection at apt.com. For free and home delivery, professional installation, and complete satisfaction, shop Apt, pleasing people since 1936. And don't forget, if you use the promo code Cochran25, spend $150 or more and they'll give you $25 back. Save $25 with the promo code Cochran25 in store and at apt.com.